Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's NewsStand, and this is going to be a little bit of a different type of video. Now, ever since I started this channel, and actually mostly in the last 6 months or so, I started to notice the politics everywhere. Didn't matter what type of media, I was, quickly able to tell if someone was, left-leaning, conservative, libertarian. The things became obvious to me. Unfortunately, it became a blessing and a curse, but I started to notice this trend, right? And we're going to talk about music today. I haven't done that in a long time on my channel since I talked about Alice Cooper. But it kind of went by the way opposite of what we've seen happen within the comic book industry. Now, I've been listening in the last week or so to the older rock that I grew up with, right? And, wow. I don't know if I was just young, if I was just naive, if it was a little bit of both, or a lot of ignorance on political issues, but I noticed how heavy-handed a lot of the music I listened to in, the 90s and early 2000s was politically. Something, I never thought and I never seen there. So I started kind of deep diving into it, right? And I was looking up the history of politics within music, and this dates back, to Yankee Doodle or Battle Hymn of the Republic. Goes back to the 20s with Billie Holiday. And not only that, but we've seen like Woody Guthrie in the 40s, This Land Is Your Land. Yeah, that one. And then we've seen in the 60s bring out Bob Dylan. One of my absolute favorite songs, Times Are Changing. It was such a unifying song, but it was, kind of co-opted in that time, and not, having that unifying message, unfortunately, in the 60s. But then, we even seen like Marvin Gaye talking about the Kent State Massacre with What's Going On. Such a unifying song. I remember when Gal Gadot did that weird Imagine cringiness that came out shortly after Corona and all that. So this is John Lennon, right? And I'm re-listening to the song, and I'm like, whoa, like this is communism. Like, it's unifying, but if you dig deeper into the meaning of these things, it's communism. And that came out in 1971. Like, these things have been present and undermining, the way we think and the way we do things in our media, whether, it's comic books or music, for a really long time. And we even seen kind of beginning of, the BLM stuff that we're seeing today, which would be, in the 80s and 90s with Public Enemy and NWA with fuck police and all that. It was the beginning, right? We just didn't, expect it to go so far. So, not only that, but we saw, like, that weird Lilith Fair stuff come out in the 90s, like, all the feminist bands, They Are Women, Hear Them Roar. It was so cringy. Then we get to the time period I'm talking about, right? So, I want to talk about some things I never noticed, right? Simple things I never noticed, whether it was, Green Day, American Idiot, and Holiday being about the Bush administration. Like, really? The writing was on the wall. I was so naive. And it took me really learning as I did my channel, as I got irritated with something so simple as comic books, and really researching and educating myself, whether it was on, I am a liberal in the sense of what a liberal is. Now, obviously, anybody that's a real traditional liberal is far right, so it's ridiculous, but some of these things, even, more recently, Kendrick Lamar with his Be Alright, right? That was kind of co-opted by Black Lives Matter, and then we had that, like, weird, childish Gambino song. Like, that was funnier as a meme than anything, to be honest with you. But now I'm going to talk about, what I now am listening to that has a lot of conservative undertones. But what I didn't notice as I was growing up, now mind you, people like Rage Against the Machine, right? I was like a child when they first came out, but still, I still listened to them. I did not realize how much they hate capitalism. I did not realize what communists these people are. Like, I'm looking back at this kind of stuff, and I'm like, wow, Rage Against the Machine, like, really, really just hates America. Like, I was actually shocked to look at some of the lyrics, you know. And even so, like, I remember going shortly after my 18th birthday to go see System of a Down with my brother and his girlfriend, and we went in this big group. And it was like, oh, yay, we're going to see Sugar. You know, like, it was one of my favorite songs, and it was like, yeah, it's just about, you know, some weird trip. No, it's about the media lying to you. And even more like BYOB, right? That was a song to me that was just like, you know, everybody's going to the party. We're going to have fun. No, it's about bombs. It's about Bush. Like, how did I not see the writing on the wall for so long? And I don't know. I really want to blame a lot of this on my naivety or my ineducation at the time. But what's amazing to me is Serj Tankian. I've always been a big fan, right? And, you know, when it comes to, like, Prison, one of, you know, my favorite songs is literally, you know, in part about defunding the police back in the early 2000s. Like, this writing has been on the wall since the 70s, if not beforehand. And I get it, like, you know, I have no problem with listening to this type of music. Trust me, I love, you know, all these bands that I've mentioned. But my problem is why did I not see these things? And I think that's more of, you know, introspection and stuff like that. But what really surprised me out of everything, and I definitely think it's worth watching if you have an extra 4 minutes right after this video. After this video, don't go anywhere. Serj Tankian's song "Empty Walls," right? And see, here's the thing with this song. It's cheerful. It starts out bouncy. It's rhythmic, right? It's about this. You don't know, right? You're not quite sure. The video is absolutely, like, puts into perspective what he was really trying to say. And he was talking a lot about the Bush administration. And I get what he was trying to say, but you know, it talks about, you know, the typical Western view of the war in the Middle East. It talks about the ban, you know, during the time which prohibited showing military coffins coming home in the early 2000s, right? It was such a ridiculous time. But we're seeing in this video a little girl getting mad that her twin towers go down, right? And we're seeing this, like, bloodbath with bubbles, I guess is the best way to put it. And it's kind of heinous if you think about what has to happen in a situation like that. It's really, like, it's frightening, right? And not only that, but it's so dismissive, you know, of the time. Because we were fed this whole, you know, lie about weapons of mass destruction, right? Okay, sure. Whatever. I remember my mom coming in and telling me that we were getting, you know, we were bombing Afghanistan. I was 14, I think. And I was like, okay, why? I didn't understand it because it didn't make sense to me. They tied it to 9/11, but yeah, none of it really made sense. What I love about this song and this video is, like, you know, he talks about, I loved you yesterday before you killed my family. It really sums up the entirety of, you know, the Afghanistan war when it came to, you know, the simplest way possible, right? We were sent to the Middle East not because of weapons of mass destruction, but because of oil. And yeah, I know I'm going to have comments saying, oh, that's the liberal in you coming out. No, it's the truth, right? It's the truth. And we were lied to and lied to and lied to. And it was a narrative that we were fed back then, and we're getting them fed to us again. And it took me into my 30s to realize this narrative that we're being fed. And I don't understand if it's me, if it's something that I'm listening to, and if it's my naivety, I don't know. But even like now, I've noticed a huge a change, right? When I was growing up, or I guess in my 18, 19, I was really into My Chemical Romance. Shut up. And, and looking back, it's like, teenagers is kind of about Antifa, right? Like, the Black Parade is kind of about civil rights. But if you look at music now, at least maybe it's me. I am very limited to what I listen to. I don't listen to, like, radio, So I find a lot of it by people that I already listen to. So a lot of it's really went by the way of conservative, right? Whether it's Black Veil Brides with Andy Biersack, he's, huge comic book fan, huge manga fan, but at the end of the day, his morals and his integrity is there, and that's why I like him. Not only that, but we have Rodney Rocky, Falling in Reverse, one of my favorite bands, but he's a weirdo, but still, right, those values are there. No, Five Finger Death Punch just came out with a new song like 2 days ago. You need to watch it after Serj Tankian, right? Oh, it's so good. Like, I love everything about it. And we still have, like, Avenged Sevenfold, one of my favorite bands. Oh, I remember Matt Shadows coming out and saying, gay people shouldn't be able to get married. And I'm just like, dude, don't do this. Don't do this. I remember thinking it was cringy back then. That, like, weird virtue signal. And it's like, it's still happening now, but way more on the left. And my favorite, so when I was young, whether it's Alice Cooper or Ted Nugent or Joe Perry, all of these people are conservative. Even when you look at rap, and I'm not a huge rap person, but I do love Tom McDonald, we're seeing, straight white males, stuff like that, talking about real issues, conservative issues. And it's very weird to see. It's completely opposite of what I'm seeing in the comic book industry. And I don't know if it's, my limited interpretation of the music scope that's out there, what I particularly am maybe drawn to because of my values. But it is absolutely insane for me to see and kind of look back and realize how naive I was, right? And I think it's kind of more on the lines of we need to maybe teach earlier, right? We maybe need to educate a little bit earlier because I shouldn't just be realizing these things because of my channel or, into my 30s. This should be taught earlier. These things should be learned, but in a very unbiased, milquetoast fence setter kind of way, right? Oh. Yeah, I watched him pull too much. Anyways, it's just very weird for me to see all of this, kind of unfolding and looking back at the old music, and I'm like, holy crap, you are so, like, Rise Against, right? Like, super SJWs. I can't even watch their videos, but I still have, Prayer for a Refugee or Swing Life Away. Like, there's so many great fucking songs from them. But they're so far left, and they've been here all along, and they've been feeding it to us, as we were young. And fortunately, I was able to kind of see it, right? So, anyways, I know this is off the wall, but I do think, it's something important to kind of look at. The cultural landscape that we live in today. What is being shaped? What is being taught to 18, 19, 17-year-old kids that aren't realizing what they're listening to, right? So, anyways, let me know what you guys think, or if you think this was super weird. Never do a video like this again. Maybe. Yeah, that's okay too. So, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon and subscribe stars. You guys literally make this channel possible. Huge thank you to Cage the Mick, Robert Mick Twiz, Black Knight Fool, Brucey, Chris Z, David L, David Rafford, Jeffrey Allen Carnes, Mighty Balls, Mike Buckner, Maizen Barbosa, Ruskar, Ryan Decker, Robert Hoffman, and Doc Holliday. You guys are absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for all your support. Don't forget on the way out to like as always if you enjoy the content and hit subscribe. And I will see see you in the next one. Bye-bye.